Okay, the noun and the verb. You know, Charlie, that this little light of mine was perfect. Jack, that reading that you did, absolutely stellar. This just talks about how when we step into a current of consciousness, how it flows in synergy. But we're going to start with a little levity.
Oh, I have so many grumpy people look at me when I talk about fun, and they go, yeah, well, give us something to laugh at. And, I look at them, there is no fun fairy. There is no fun fairy that flits around and goes, oh, you look miserable down there. Book, have some fun with a magic wand. It doesn't happen. You've got to be your own fun fairy. And if you guys are wanting to get into leadership roles and director roles, this is what you have to do. You have to become CFFs, Chief Fun Fairies. You are to go forth today, and on your BC card, you are going to have CFF added to the end of your name as credentials. You are the Chief Fun Fairy, but you are going to go nutso. Look at this. Look at my symbol for it. Where is it? Look, 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 look. Ah, come out, come out. Ta-da! But wait, this gets better. Listen. Ah, see? Everybody wants a wand. We'll be downstairs tomorrow. I cannot wait for tomorrow. We'll be in that big room anyway. And these are essential parenting and leadership items. I want you to get one of these and have a holster. When you have your team meetings, I want you to have this. If somebody starts to go, you just go, all fixed. If you have one of these on your refrigerator, where if you've got teenagers, the next time the teenager comes up and says, Mom, Dad, everybody else is doing it, you're such an ugly dad. Do not answer them, you will lose. All you do is grab this, look at them and go, you're invisible. How good is that, huh? And don't clap, we haven't got time. And then the other way you can use it, if you've had a bad day, your normal other job, your yucko job, and you're coming home from a BC spa and you've got to get yourself up, you can do this. And turn yourself into a frog. And I promise you, if you've had these at your spas, people are going to be saying, give me the wand, give me the wand. And everybody wants to know where you can get them. Try Target. Sometimes Target has them. Sometimes dollar stores have them. But otherwise, I'm sorry, we have to get them made in China. The only place I know is my website, So. Anyway, everybody, hold up your own pretend magic wand. Quick. On the count of 3, you're going to look one side, then the other. And with feeling, meaning it from your heart, you're going to say, bring, I'm a fun fairy. Bring. And I don't want you looking, I'm going, bring, I'm a fun fairy. Bring. I want you to imagine a room full of 6,000 men doing this. It was fabulous. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Bring! I'm a fun fairy.
I'm a fun fairy. So I didn't get to the store to buy my ears and my little wand, but pretend. It's okay. In the beginning. How many of you know this scripture? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And it's like Jack says about love. It's a word that's a noun and a verb. And our life that's how our life is to become, is like a noun and a verb. I paraphrased that to be in your beginning is your existence. And your existence becomes an awareness. Let me say it again. And your existence becomes in awareness. And when your awareness becomes knowing, you recognize you. You get that? That's the whole reason that we're here. Now, what's going on is we're here in a process. And that process, I did that in a little thing that says, the noun is, which is like a seed. The seed is the seed of all possibility. And then you plant the seed. We emptied ourselves of all that we were, and then found ourselves in the form of a man, and that's like planting that seed into the ground. And then the seed begins to grow. The verb does. Moves, experience, takes root, grows into a plant. And then self-fills, becomes aware and completes, which is in the proper time where the fruit comes from. It's all about the fruit. And then it's all about the seed. Because once the fruit comes to bear the seed all over again. So it's a process. It's an experience. Coming in emptied, experiencing, but there's something inside of us that goes beyond this. That's the process. I'm going to talk about voice in a minute, but I just wanted to introduce it there. Don Jones, when he spoke a couple of weeks ago, he quoted Don McGee's Ruiz, who said, "All stories are lies." You remember Don saying that? Anything that is dependent on our five senses, sight, sound, tactile, taste, is incomplete. Everybody aware of that? Everybody know that? You comfortable with that? Because it's the senses that give us experience, but it's not a complete experience. So when we tell a story based upon our senses only, it's a lie. And the reason it's a lie is it's because it's incomplete. And this is why we've developed tools. Now I'm going to do a little exercise right here to demonstrate this. This is a little video capture device. And I'm going to use this little window right here as an example of my awareness or your awareness. We see through this window. This is our five sense window, if you will. And if we start living life and experiencing through that window, that's how we see life, that's how we perceive our life, that's how we live our life, is through that window. But there's more than that window going on. And this is a really good example right here of the conscious mind, the subconscious, and then the superconscious. Because this is talking about the conscious, this is talking about the subconscious, but then there's the superconscious. What's even beyond that? Which is the all and everything. You with me on that? So when we stop this little recording and we play that back, which is our story, that's what we get, is that little piece of the whole pie. So that story is incomplete. So in essence, it's a lie. And that's what Don McGee's Ruiz was referring to. Now, tools are extensions of our senses to extend our awareness. The television, this computer, is a tool that goes beyond what we're physically aware of, sight, sound, taste, smell, to give us more. When we flip the light on, we go into the more. What's behind that? When we go into the meters, there's all kind of test equipment. There's oscilloscopes, there's voltage meters, there's all kind of tools that we use to help us go beyond our sense realm, to relate to that what's beyond. With me on that? But even though we've got these extensions that we've developed that help us to expand our awareness, there's still more. And you know that there's still more. What is it that tells us that there is more? How do we know that there is more? What is internal in us that is saying, yeah, yeah, I see that, I understand that, but innately I know there's more. Why is there the quest? What is it that says there's more? That's built into us, because hasn't everyone experienced that there's more? Anyone? Get your wand up. Okay, quantum physicists call it the observer. That's something that's beyond. The ancients called it that small, still voice. That's something that's within. And back to quantum physics, Greg Braden is saying it's coded into our DNA. It's actually, this more is actually coded into our DNA. So even though we've emptied ourselves and came in with a blank slate, supposedly, I could argue that it's really not a blank slate, but we come in very limited awareness that there's something that's always saying something. And it's that something that I want to get to. Now, knowing that there's more brings in the element of faith. And faith is the knowing that in this limitation in which we find our awareness, that there are things that we can trust and rely on. Everybody understand that with me on that? This is interactive, and you can.
Amen.
Don't get too excited. And faith is really trust in the more. Now, we all have faith, and I can prove that very easily. How many drivers do we have in here? If you don't drive, don't answer, but if you drive, I want to see your hand. How many drivers do we have in here? How many times do you step on the brake in your car? A lot. And why do you step on the brake? Because you know it's going to stop you. How do you know that? Experience, and that experience leads to faith. Faith that every time I'm stepping on that brake, it's going to do the same thing and it's going to stop me. It's when it doesn't do that that we get into a panic. Okay, now I'm getting to the fun part here. The difference in being able to do something versus being that something. Now, what inspired this talk was Renee loves to watch Tyra Banks' Next Top Model. And she loves to watch that because she's a professional photographer. and she likes watching professional posing and lighting, and she just goes along. It's fun for her to see something that's right along her lines, which reminds me of two airline pilots, one of which is still alive and the other one's dead. And this little story is about the miracle on the Hudson River, and then the disaster several months later. And the difference between those two experiences for the people on board and all their loved ones is the noun and the verb concept. Captain Sullenberger is the noun concept. He's the one who embodies the noun and the verb being, I'm going to coin a new word, being the nerve, or the verone, the noun and the verb together, because that's what it's all about. The noun is we empty ourselves, get planted, come into experience, begin to grow, come into, in that growing process, produce fruit, and from that fruit, go on to produce the next generation seed. There's a difference between this first seed and the next generation seed. And that difference is the encoding that has happened in the DNA. Same thing for us. We bear the DNA of many of our ancestors. It used to be, the understanding used to be that our DNA was our DNA and it wrote our life. That's actually true. It writes our life to a certain extent. But previous knowledge was that you couldn't change what the DNA was saying about your life. And the current understanding is we change our DNA all the time. We actually change the structure of that blueprint all the time. And it's all about beliefs. It's all about our understanding. It's all about the belief system that we've come up in and the belief system that we allow to continue in our life. So there's a difference between being able to do something, and I'm a big fan, and this is why I'm a big fan of the American Idol and So You Think You Can Dance. I love these reality shows that come out. Being in, doing the ministry work that I do, helping people rewrite their programming, their internal programming, I have seen and experienced and been a part of a lot of change. And the difference in being able to do something versus being that something is why I love watching the American Idol and So You Think You Can Dance. Because I like watching people who are technically superb, and yet they aren't the thing. There is something that just hasn't dropped from head to heart. How many of you have heard that kind of a thing? It's got to drop into your heart. It's got to drop and come from the heart. It can't be just technical. In the Olympics, the difference between first place, the gold medal, silver and bronze, and all the other places is how well they have become the exercise that they are doing. They can be technically perfect. And yet, there's a difference between the Eric Liddell. How many of you are familiar with Eric Liddell? The movie Chariots of Fire was about Eric Liddell. And he really embodies this thing along with Captain Sullenberger, because he would get into a place where in his running he was so much in tune with who he was and what he was in his running that he would go to his maximum extent, and he knew that when he was at the end of him, there was something else there. And that's what that faith is I'm asking you to understand. That faith is knowing that when you've come to the end of your limitations, your window of experience, knowing that there's more there. And what that more is. Now, the voice, I really want to take a few minutes and talk about voice. Because the difference between being able to do something versus being that something lies internally in the voice. In the voice that you're listening to, in the voice that you're living from. I didn't know this 4 years ago before I met Core Health. I did not know this because nobody had shared this experience with me. Going through a class, I discovered and have since reconfirmed it many times that we're not living our lives. We are living others' lives. How many of you really believe that might be true? Hardly anybody believes that they're living their mother's voice. Hardly anybody believes they're driving their drivers, that whoever taught them how to drive's way they taught them how to drive, or a whole host of things. Until you own it for yourself, until you've adopted it as a part of you and yours, you're living in somebody else's voice. And the shocking thing is to find that we've come 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and we have never truly lived our own life. And that's what the internal programming has done to us. We live that first 5 or 6 years with the understanding that's come. Bruce Lipton has really been a big part of this. With the understanding that has come about the first 6 years of our life, that there is no conscious filter, there's no higher brain function the first 6 years of our life. What does that mean? That means that it's like a computer. What you put in is what's there. Now, that makes a whole different way of thinking about children. I see parents day in, day out treating their children like they were making conscious decisions. In the first 6 years, they don't make conscious decisions. It is all programming. It's all programming. So what's programmed in there? If you want to know what's being taught to a child, just get a child off to themselves and play. And play with them. Listen to them. Hear what they say, how they talk, how they act. You're going to find out exactly how the parents talk and act. And then the parents turn around and look at them and say, why in the world are you doing that? Don't say that. Don't do this. Don't do that. And they're going, what? We need that magic wand, that fun fairy. I like that little tone in it. All better. We come empty into this experience to experience in and through that experience to remember that which we came from. Now, I've got some examples that I want to work through.
เป็นเป็ดแล้วจะบินเป็นคนหูหนวกแล้วจะเล่นไวโอลินเธอจะบ้าเหรอทำไมไม่ไปเรียนวิชาอื่นเสียเวลาคนอื่นเขา
จบไปแล้วอย่างสวยงามนะครับสำหรับผู้เข้าประกวดคนสุดท้ายของเราในวันนี้นะครับและในช่วงต่อไปก็จะเป็นช่วงของครับเรายังเหลือผู้เข้าประกวดอีกหนึ่งท่านนะครับในวันนี้เราไปพบกับเธอกันเลยครับ
Between the head and the heart in that little piece. And that's basically what it's. Just to go a couple of steps further here.
Nearly 48, currently unemployed but still looking, and I'm going to sing for you on Britain's Got Talent today.
A little nervous.
Yeah, sure, no.
Yeah, well, that's not surprising, but, you know, try
I've got a fighting mood, you know. At the moment I live in Noun with my cat called Pebbles. But I've never been married. Never been kissed. Oh, shame. But it's not an advert.
And have you done this for many a year?
Since I was 12.
Since you're 12?
I've always wanted to perform in front of a large audience. I'm going to make that audience rock.
Hi, what's your name, darling?
My name is Susan Boyle.
Okay, Susan, where are you from?
I am from Blackburn near Bathgate, West Lothian.
It's a big town.
It's a sort of collection of... It's a collection of villages. I had to think there.
And how old are you, Susan?
I am 47. And that's just one side of me.
Okay, what's the dream?
I'm trying to be a professional singer.
And why hasn't it worked out so far, Susan?
I've never been given the chance before, but here's hoping it'll change.
Okay, and who would you like to be as successful as?
Elaine Page.
Elaine
somebody
Page.
like that.
What are you going to sing tonight?
I'm going to sing I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables.
Okay.
Big song.
Yeah? Yes.
I dreamed a dream in time gone by. When hopes my life was giving.
You didn't expect that, did you? Did you? No.
I dreamed that love would never die.
It's Paul, a mobile phone salesman from South Wales.
By day, I sell mobile phones. My dream is to spend my life doing what I feel that I was born to do.
Paul, what are you here for today, Paul?
To sing opera. I've always wanted to sing as a career. Confidence has always been sort of like a difficult thing for me. I've always found it a little bit difficult to be completely confident in myself.
Okay, ready when you are.
what these two people have done for the world.
And you competed on something that's like American Idol here. It is called Superstar Avenue, right?
Yeah.
What made you want to audition for that show?
Because 因为我之前看到 Susan Boyle and Paul Potts 他们的表演，那让我觉得就是有很大的就是勇气能够站上那个舞台。
Because I've seen the performances of Susan Boyle and Paul Potts that made me have encouragement and encouraged me to be bold enough to stand on the stage.
Good. Because I understand you've been bullied a lot. So what would you say to other kids out there that have been bullied?
All I wanted to tell them is, 就是每个人生下来都有他们的用处，就是要对自己更有自信，就是你能够就是给他们最好报复，就是你比他们更成功。
I'm going to tell them that there is a reason for everybody's existence in this world. And be confident. Be confident. The best way to get back to them is to be more successful than they are.
That is the best for them. Yep. All right. You're going to sing?
Yeah.
Okay. Have fun.
If I should stay, I would only be in your way. So I'll go. But I know I'll think of you every step of the way. And love you. I will always love you. I hope life treats you kind, and I hope you have all you dream of. And I wish you joy and happiness. But above all this, I wish you love, love. And I will always love you. I will always love you.
So we come in empty into this existence to experience. And in and through that experience to remember. That which we came from. Now these three examples are examples of somebody that has stepped into their dreams, that has stepped into their awareness of how they want to express and experience life. And they put faith in their own personal presence at what they could do. And we each one of us, have some greatness to express. But we can't express it through another's voice. We can only express it through our own voice. And whatever it takes to find that voice within you, that is your voice. That's the journey of the hero. So as Amanda Gore would say, bing, all better.
One door closes. was me.